Across the internet, there has been endless amount of stories that have been published throughout various social media apps and websites, the most common and preferred one being the app Reddit. While Reddit can be entertaining, it also contains explicit and disgusting videos and posts that anyone can possibly imagine. Hello, my name is Bootses, and in today's video I'm going to describe to you one of the most tragic stories I've ever come across on Reddit. So get ready to sit back, relax, and hopefully enjoy the video. This video does go into dark topics, including a passing of a child, so if you're uncomfortable about this situation or in a bad mental state, I strongly advise you to please skip this video. Half a decade ago, a user posted about their traumatizing experience on the subreddit r/JustKnowMills, a place where you can come for support, come for advice, or just vent and get it all out. The original poster, which I'll be referring as the OP, started the story by providing context about herself and how she felt about in the situation. Hello, I'm a first time poster, but I discovered this subreddit a few months ago. I was talking about this subreddit with my therapist, and she gave me the homework of speaking out more about my story to see if it lessened my pain. I've written and deleted this post maybe 7 times now, but I think it's time to get it out. The OP introduced how she got married in 2002 to her husband and had a son roughly 10 months after the wedding. She then goes into detail about her experience of how her situation began, starting with the birth of her twin daughters. When my twin girls were born, we had no issues in the hospital. However, when we brought them home, we noticed that one of the girls, let's call her OD since she was a whole 4.5 minutes older than her sister, was developing a rash. I hadn't really dealt with allergies in kid since my son didn't have them, and neither did any child or adult in my entire family. I wasn't sure what it was. I thought maybe she had sensitive skin, like me. I can't tolerate certain fabrics because I have very dry skin, and I often break out in rashes if my skin decides that it doesn't like something. So, I stopped using fabric softener on all the clothes. The situation for OD started to go from bad to worse, as the doctor couldn't determine what was the main cause for her reaction. As OD kept on having severe allergic reactions over and over again, she had to be kept in a clean room. As more than 3 months had passed, OP and her husband luckily found what was the main cause for OD's reaction. Our OD was allergic to coconut. The doctors told us that it was a particularly rare allergen, and so it wasn't on any of the skin test panels they ran. When we found out what she was allergic to, we were so relieved. So relieved. But in addition with feeling relieved, I delved into a ball of hysterical laughter. I laughed so hard that I cried, and to this day, my dear husband told me that he didn't know if I was crying from relief or pure happiness. OP then went into quick detail about how coconut is used commonly in their culture, religious events, cooking, candies, and for their hairstyles, which is possibly how it affected OD in the first place. After that, OP then provided context about the state of her relationship with her mother, aka OD's grandmother. The best way I can summarize our relationship is by saying that she was very proud of me and loved talking about my accomplishments, but I could always tell that she wished I was something else. As far as raising my kids, my mother was just yes 99.9% of the time. She was hands off and respected all my decisions, even if she didn't like them sometimes. One of the decisions that the grandmother did not agree with and kept on bickering with was the coconut allergy, specifically not using coconut oil for OD's hair. But OP constantly said no to using anything that contains coconut, as she was still terrified that it would severely affect OD's health, just like what happened in the hospital. The grandmother even knew the struggles of what they went through, yet somehow passed it on as if it was a minor issue. After 1 year passed, there was a day where OP had to go pick up her husband from the airport as he went overseas for a conference. After she picked him up, they decided to drive back home and have breakfast with the kids and grandparents. However, something horrendous had happened. We got to my parents' house at 7:45 AM. My parents weren't there. My son was at the neighbor's house and ran outside with the neighbor as soon as he saw his daddy and I pull up. He was hysterical and crying, and I couldn't calm him down. My blood pressure was rising because I'm now thinking that something horrible had happened to my parents. I'm calling my parents non-stop at this point, and I'm getting frantic because I don't know what's happened. I honestly don't remember the details of what happened next, but somehow we figured out that the ambulance was from X hospital nearby. They got to the hospital and ran to a group of nurses straight away. OP explained everything that she knew. However, whilst explaining, one nurse was mortified and almost started crying as she knew what happened. Another nurse then took OP and her husband and told her what happened. My mother had put coconut oil in both my daughter's hair when they were playing in the previous day before bed. According to my son, Odie started to get a little dizzy and itchy when my mum was doing her hair. So my mother gave her some Benadryl and kept the coconut oil in her hair and put her to fucking sleep. The Benadryl made her sleepy and unable to wake up or be conscious enough to wake her brother or cry. She vomited in her sleep and the rash spread all over. Her little body was swollen to twice the size. She had asphyxiated in her sleep. She died painfully and slowly in the early hours of the morning. OP and her husband were in disbelief and denial. No way that their precious daughter had suddenly been taken away from them. The following days were excruciating, as they had to explain to their son and other daughter what has happened to their sister, and while also having to bury their 1.5-year-old daughter. These events caused an investigation to occur by Child and Protective Services, as the government believed that the children were in danger, but in the end they won the rights to keep their children. After everything that had happened, the grandfather left the grandmother, and the majority of the mother's side of the family barely or even refuses to speak with her whatsoever. The grandmother became very lonely and started to continuously call OP for forgiveness. I'll get a call from her telling me how sorry she is and how she just wasn't thinking, and can I please find a way to forgive her. She wants to come see me. The only thing I can ever say to her is, you can come see me when you bring my daughter with you. OP has described what life has been like ever since the passing of OD. OP and her husband were able to help each other cope with the loss of their child and have been going to therapy for over a decade, and that the son and the younger daughter have turned into amazing adults. But sadly, they admitted that it hasn't been the same ever since. Thank you for watching this video. I just also want to say thanks to Tov. I was inspired by his Reddit's Darkest Corner and found this story on actually one of the segments, and I just wanted to try going into a little bit more detail than what he did. So yeah, shout out to him, go check it out, his link is in the description, and yeah, see you in the next video.